25 million years ago, the Earth was wrapped in endless forests. Within these green cathedrals, a new family of primates appeared, the great apes. They lived among the branches, leaping, grooming, playing, and crying out to one another. Their lives were bound by agility, strength, and family bonds. And though they could not know it, within their world of vines and shadows lay the very first sparks of what would one day become humanity. Among these apes was a creature called Australopithecus, living in Europe 13 million years ago. It clung to branches with hands that looked surprisingly like our own. For the first time, its back began to straighten. It was a small detail, a simple posture, but in that upright glance was the whisper of something new, a silent step toward becoming human. Far away in Africa, another stranger appeared, Sahelanthropus chadensis, also called Tumai. Neither fully ape nor human, Tumai walked hesitantly on two legs across the savanna. These first, uncertain strides of bipedalism seemed small at the time, but each step was a seed of the future, destined to echo across millions of years. 4 million years ago came Australopithecus. Among them was one of our most famous ancestors, Lucy. She and her kind lived in groups. They carried children on their hips, gathered fruits, shared food, and laughed together beneath the African sun. They knew fear, joy, and even grief. They were not human yet, but they were alive in ways we can easily recognize. As the climate shifted, forests shrank, and wide grasslands spread across Africa. Some Australopithecines adapted to climbing trees, while others adapted to walking on the ground. Evolution was no straight line, but a branching tree. Many species disappeared, but those that endured carried forward resilience, the spark of what would eventually become us. Then, 2.5 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. A new kind of human appeared, Homo habilis, the handyman. Though small in stature, they had minds capable of seeing beyond the present. They struck sharp flakes from stone, carving meat, breaking bones, and unlocking marrow hidden inside. These were the first tools, and with tools came the first technology. In time, another human rose, Homo erectus. Taller, stronger, and more daring, they roamed the open grasslands as hunters, scavengers, and wanderers. Alone, they were fragile. Together, they were unstoppable. Cooperation became their greatest weapon. Humanity was discovering its true strength, not just in muscle, but in unity. And then came fire. At first, it arrived by accident, delivered by lightning from the sky. But Homo erectus learned to guard it, to feed it, to keep it alive as though protecting a sacred flame. Fire gave warmth, protection, and cooked food. Around it, bonds grew deeper. Perhaps here, in the glow of firelight, the first stories were born, shadows dancing on stone walls. The night was no longer a prison of fear. It had become a home. With fire and tools, humans spread beyond Africa. They crossed rivers, deserts, and mountains. They entered worlds of snow and ice. Migration began, the greatest journey in history. Step by step, they filled the earth. But the earth was already alive with giants. Saber-toothed cats prowled the plains. Mammoths towered like moving mountains. Cave bears ruled the darkness. To hunt these beasts was to gamble with life. Success meant meat, fur, and survival. Failure meant death. In these battles with giants, courage was as vital as fire. 400,000 years ago, in the frozen heart of Europe, another human arose, the Neanderthals. Stocky, powerful, and enduring, they were masters of the Ice Age. They built shelters, crafted fine tools, and cared for their wounded and elderly. They were not brutes. They were thinkers, artists, and caretakers. Humans in every sense of the word. Far to the east, hidden in the mountains of Asia, lived yet another cousin, the Denisovans. Their bones are rare, their story told mostly through DNA. Yet their legacy survives in us, for they interbred with both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. Even today, fragments of their existence live on in our blood, an invisible inheritance from a forgotten people. Then in Africa, something new emerged, Homo sapiens. Lighter, quicker, and thinkers in ways no other species had ever been. They spoke, they sang. Their words carried knowledge across generations, binding people together. Language gave them memory, imagination, and the power to dream of worlds unseen. Sapiens painted caves with ochre and carved ornaments from bone. They adorned themselves with shells, left symbols scratched into stone. These were not tools for survival. They were messages, expressions of belonging, of belief, of beauty. In symbols, humanity discovered its soul. Carrying fire, language, and dreams, sapiens left Africa. They journeyed across deserts, mountains, and seas. They reached Arabia, Asia, and beyond. In Europe and Asia, they encountered their cousins, the Neanderthals and Denisovans. Sometimes they fought, sometimes they shared fire, sometimes they shared blood. Today, traces of those encounters still live within us. In deep caverns, sapiens painted life into stone. Mammoths, bison, lions, etched with fire and color. These were not just pictures, they were prayers, stories, magic. Humanity had become a storyteller, a dream weaver, a creator of myths. The Ice Age tightened its grip. Woolly mammoths and rhinos roamed the frozen plains. To endure, humans hunted together, wrapped themselves in furs and built shelters of bone and snow. Every hunt was a test of courage. Every fire was a fragile heartbeat against the cold. And then, slowly, the Neanderthals vanished. Their fires went out. Their voices fell silent. Perhaps it was the changing climate. Perhaps it was competition with sapiens. Perhaps it was love and interbreeding. Whatever the cause, their time ended. But they were not failures. They live on in us, in our genes, in our memories. They were part of our story. 10,000 years ago, the ice began to retreat. Forests returned. Humans planted seeds, built villages, and tamed animals. From the glow of firelight came cities. From stone tools came steel. Humanity had become the shaper of the world. And yet, within us, all those voices still remain. The upright glance of Australopithecus, the first steps of Tumai, the laughter of Lucy, the tools of Habilis, the fire of Erectus, the songs of sapiens, the dreams of Neanderthals. This is not just the story of the past, it is the story of us all. We are the children of survival, of imagination, of fire. And our journey has only just begun.